Welcome back, my fellow traders. Today, we're going to go over a market recap over some Forex news that was released, not previous week as I wasn't trading last week, but the week before that I was going through and I was taking a whole bunch of trades where they did perform mighty well. But here we do have a recap to see how the news impacted the market. Now, get ready because we're going to dive into the thrilling twists and turns at sea in the market that we are able to capture and the key events that shaped the major currency and the trading landscapes, from the unexpected economic news releases that shape the world. We have this whole thing going on with Ukraine at the market. So buckle up, grab your trading journals, guys, and join me on the exciting journey as we uncover the highs and the lows and everything in between. Let's go into this week's market action. Okay, So let's just go in here because we have two sets of news that we need to look at, and let's just take a look at the chart and open up our good old charts. Now let's just clean up the chart. Let's get focusing on some of these pictures that we have here. So let's just take a look to see what is in relation to the pound and the euro, the US dollar, the JPY, because those are the things that mainly affect these pairs that I was focusing on trading, the pound and the JPY. Sorry, the pound JPY and the pound USD. Okay, so the first news that we really have to come out is some mid news. So the way the news is structured here, so anything gray would be slight news, anything yellow would be slight news, anything orange will be mid news, and then anything red will be serious news, so high impact news that we would be expecting. But starting out in the market from the market open on June 11th, we can see that we do have some JPY news at 7:50 p.m. and that's Eastern Standard Time. So if we can just go back to the market open and start to tick off when we have this area here, let's just go in and let's go to the weekly time frame. We can go to the first candle, place some period separators in so we can determine where the start of the week is very quickly. And let's go down to a lower time frame like the 30-minute, zoom out. Let's go back to our date, June 11th, right here. And this is actually pound. So let's go into the pound JPY. Let's do the same thing, clean up the charts. Do we need to clean up the charts? Let's go over to the weekly and at least add our period separators in. Okay, so I have some things still left on the chart. Let's just take a look. Lower time frames, go to the 30-minute. Where's our 11th? Right here. And this time here is in my local time as well. So this would be 5 p.m. That's when the market opens here, Eastern Standard. And then like we have 7:50 p.m. and then 2 a.m. we have some JPY news. So let's just see our first area of interest at 7:50. So just right around here we have some news come out. Then right around here around 2 a.m. we have this that comes out that pushes the market up, right? Now from there, what do we have? We have some pound related news which comes out at about 10 a.m. some USD news at 1 p.m. So let's mark in 10 a.m. for the pound. So right around here, this candle here is the movement. We get some slight movement down for a temporary amount of time before price actually goes up. Let's go back and see. So USD, and that is at 1 and 2 p.m. We're gonna go over and place this on this chart here. Okay, and let's go back to our date of specifics. So June 11th, and then right around, we said 1 and 2 p.m. we had that news come out. So 1 p.m. sorry, this is 2 p.m. 1 p.m. right around here. So both of these add up to be some bullish news that sparks price up into the upward direction. And from there we do have some other JPY news, same time as previously. So 7:50 p.m. which I believe is like 2 hours into the business day in Asia. And then Australia, we're not going to mind those ones there, but JPY 7:50 again. So that time has popped up twice now. I'm going to go back over here area of interest that we are playing into. Let me just delete what we have going on here. Okay, and then from there we are going 7:50 a.m. sorry, 7:50 p.m., which that is 4, that's 10, so that should be 8, and that should be 7, so right around 9. Market consolidates, we can see here, after that pound news that came out more recently. So pound news came out there, JPY news came out there, and then that ultimately sent price back up into its upward direction. So a lot of people give the credit to the Asian session as being non-active, no activity going on, and those type of things, but it's not true. Really, that's racism. The Western world teaches to think that nothing's going on in Asia and that they don't have their own economy and all this type of stuff, but that is not true. They're really thriving, and so, you know, don't go to think nothing is open because it's the Asian market. There's things in Asia going on. It's the 9 to 5. There's a whole life and world going on that side of the world, you know? So just be mindful. Don't repeat ridiculous jargon like the market aren't, the big banks aren't open and things just like that. There's big banks in America, there's big banks in Canada, there's big banks in Australia, there's big banks in China, there's big banks all across the world. So you have to be mindful that these guys have things popping for themselves, you know? So we go on, that is all the news for the day. Then we start off in the new day of Tuesday. We come through and we have some European news, so that's relevant around 2 a.m. with the pound news. So light news, mid news, and serious news, these all come out around at the same time, 2 a.m. And so let's mark that into our pound pairs, where 2 a.m. on the Tuesday, so that's Monday, then we have Tuesday, we need to mark in 2 a.m., which is right here. This leads price into a slight consolidation before the mark up. Same thing right around here, we go back to our specific date, Tuesday, and so Tuesday at 2 a.m. this pushed price up into a bullish momentum. So we need to be mindful of something, that we have the pound in relation to both of these pairs, but the second pair here is different. This one is related to the Japanese yen, the second one's related to the USD. So that's why I said we're only looking at certain news releases, because there's different pairs involved. We don't have to worry too much about the Australian and the Canadian stuff like this. Yes, the markets are all interrelated and there are international markets, but there is a focus pair. There's a major pair and there's a minor pair. Yes, there's majors and minors to each degrees on what they're called, but there's a primary pair and then there's a secondary pair. So we have to be mindful of that when we're considering the pressure of the market and the overall flow of it as well. So European news comes out there, then we get some more European news at 4 a.m., 4:02. We get some some Chinese news coming out there. 4 a.m., 5 a.m. is European, 5 a.m. is European and some slight some slight USD, and then we'll touch into 8 a.m. So around 4 and 5, we have some pound, Japanese, and European, some US dollar. We can just add that in. So we have for our Tuesday, 4 and 5 a.m. Still right around there. So leads to the consolidation with the ultimate break. Yeah, we do have reason to use our fib from our low to our high. It would come down to our extreme, push up when we have the news. But you have to be mindful, something that's not present here is the spread increase that would occur as the news is being released. Okay, so this is why it's important to always just get some live trading done so you can get some actual experience behind you. But other than that, we do come back through. So 8 a.m., 8:30 a.m., 9:30 a.m., we have more news coming out, 8:30, 9:30, 10, and 11. That's when we have a bunch of pound and US dollar news come out. So let's just mark that in here. So we have the early AMs where we can see that bullish pressure continues through. as the US session comes in. So this is where a lot of that jargon comes from, where you have people thinking that, you know, the US sessions are much more active, and sure, they will be more active for US related things like US stocks, not Japanese stocks, not Asian stocks. Those things move on their own tempo as accord to the Nikkei and the Japanese related things or the Asian related things. You know, US stuff, when you have the US dollar index, when you have the US is so heavily related to oil prices, even though they're not one of the largest producers, like actual land producers of the oil, you know. So there's different, you got to remember the control and who's actually in power of these things and all these different type of narratives. So like we have here, we have the Tuesday around 4 o'clock, right up until, you know, 10:30. We just have that bullish pressure coming through. As you guys should know by now, I'm not a person to trade financial news, but this week I was aware of them. I was aware for when they were coming out, simply because we do have large increases in volatility. We do have the spread increasing and stuff like that. So I was just taking a key note and seeing when these things happen and how they may relate in accordance to the news. Because you'll notice as well, I'm not going to get into it much here, but you'll notice some of the bullish pressure that came from the news events didn't react bullish in price, or some of the bearish news events don't act bearish in price. The main thing here I'm still going with is all my technical analysis and market structure keys, and I use those in conjunction to be like, okay, we have news coming in, so we may tick down into our area of interest, we may have some volatility kick in, we may be able to push into our TP area. All of these type of things go into my consideration. But yeah, we come back into 1 p.m. and then 6 p.m., 8 p.m. That is NZD. So the last one here is US dollar at 1 p.m. Let's just go there, 1 p.m. The 1 p.m. is here where that consolidation starts for a little bit of time, right? Before the market kicks back up at what, 2 a.m., 3 a.m., just as the London session is starting to open back up. So let's just go back over into our photo here, and we go over to Wednesday, our third day, day 3. And then we have European news, pound news, all at 2 a.m. Let's just go to the next one. So yeah, these all happen at 2 a.m. And if we go here, we can see, we start to see that bullish activity come into the market 2 a.m., right? 2 a.m. like we go in consideration with the news. Remember that the weekly time frame, the daily time frame, all these things are still bullish for this week. We have the week of the 11th. I'm just going to delete this marking. The week of the 11th is there, and this is the end of it. So it's still a bullish week. This week was bullish. This week was bullish. This is a continuating week bullish. And still that week, we made new highs, breaking to new highs. And we have that bullish market structure there as well, right? So just mindfulness, okay? Let's go back down to our time frame where we are. So like I mentioned, we have that bullish structure came in price, and then even on the next one, if we are to go into the Japanese yen, we would see still around 2 o'clock on Tuesday, sorry, 2 o'clock on Wednesday, that bullish activity started to kick in, and that's where we see the bullish pressure start to come back in. We do consolidate for a little, we do play on the levels right around here, but we ultimately do dip back into that weekly area of interest and pop right over into the top, right? Nice play. Then let's go back over here. So the next period, the next image we have here, still on Wednesday at 5 o'clock, we have more European news. 8:30 a.m. is when the US starts to open up, and we got some serious news coming out of the core the CPPI. A lot of people pay attention to that stuff. Let's go here. So we had 5 a.m., correct? 5 a.m. To 7:15, we have bearish news coming out. So still, that is right around here where we have that bullish ultimate push that starts up and starts to gear. If we go here as well, so right around that same time, 3 a.m., Even 5 a.m. we have the push continuing. 7 a.m. we have the push continuing straight to the upside just to go with the general pressure. You have to remember we have a push, consolidate phase, right? As I explained in the PDF, the second PDF that I put out, where we have the male and the female principle, we have push, consolidate, and really we have development. This is all just forms of expression. So if we just go back here, we can see we have the US news at 2 p.m. that comes out very heavily. 2 and 2:30. FOMC, which was, I was very aware of this one because this one did punch down very quickly, and this was at 2 a.m. Sorry, this was at 2 p.m. right around there. So you can see there was a heavy drop in price as that FOMC news was coming out. Price consolidated back at the low for a double bottom and then ticked off, right? So you got to be aware from the traps that occur, these high volatility moves when they're happening. So we can get more high volatility. I'm not saying all high volatility moves happen with news, but we can get highlighted volatility moves with the news, right? Now, going on, so some of the news here, this is not related. So 7:50 p.m. again, we have Japanese news come out. And then 10 p.m. we have some more yen news come out. So let's just take a quick look at that. So we have, in the case by looking at the structure here, this means we would have bullish pound news and bearish Japanese yen news. So if we would go to our news, we should have bearish results here, right? We can see that there is some bearish news, so bearish there. Unemployment rate was normal, so that was expectable. And then even at 750, so this was good. This number here was ultimately, I believe, worse than the actual outcome. So all of these stuff aid to the fact that price went up and at the rate that it did. Moving on, we have Thursday JPY news at 12:30 a.m. Let's tune into that. So Thursday, 12:30 a.m., the bullish activity is still going on right around here. Okay, so bullish activity is still going on for the yen. Sorry, for this pair in general. So there we go, 8:30 a.m. heavy on the US news coming out once again. And there we can just go down to this pair, and this is Thursday, 8:30 a.m. Boom, we have a major run to the upside. So that is a very crazy move. We do, come from that triple bottom consolidation. A lot of people are going to see a lot of moves in the market, a lot of moves that people can take advantage of, right? And, a lot of people can see this, oh, maybe I'm going to short, price is going to the downside. But you got to remember the overall pressure, guys. You got to remember the overall pressure. And apart from all that we've seen happening, remember the weekly level that I marked off before. So we have that major structure coming through. Everybody would see this, we had a test of this major resistance, price came back, closed below, but then still remembering the overall trend, we don't even have lower low structure in the market yet. We can't be shorting just because we have one rejection. Main direction of the trend is the type of things we got to be looking for. So, the new hour starts, and then we have that bullish run that is good for 8:30 a.m. And then even as we go in later into the day, we have more US news around 9, 10, and some pound news at 11. So let's look at 9 and 10. So yep, 9 and 10 do continue with the bullish news just right around there as well. Let's just take a look at this other pair, JPY. So around 9 and 10 is when that bullish news starts to kick back in. So let's just wrap up and take a look. So around 10:50, we got some JPY news, some monetary policy statements. So important news, JPY, and that was what, 10:30, 10:40, 10:50. That is right around here. So that's when the monetary news came in, and that would lead me to believe that the news that came out would have been bearish news, which added to price going up. Can we testify to that? Can we testify to that the news was bearish? So it says it came out as expected. Monetary policy, I guess that's something you have to more so watch because we have no actual results here. But if we did click on it, we would get a report for what happened and what the monetary pod, what the statement was. But last day of the week, this is not the most eventful week. We had more, this is not the most eventful day. We had more news coming out like on Thursday and stuff like that. But we do have some JPY news, a bunch of Euro news around 4 or 5 a.m. And then we can just take a look around 4 or 5 a.m. on Friday. So that's when that bullish news starts to kick back in as well, okay? Let's go back here, 4 or 5 on Friday. Bullish news starts to kick back in. So, I'm just paying attention to these things. We have US news at 11 and 2, right? Let's say 10, 11, and 2 is when we start to get some heavy US news come back. So 10, 11, and 2, this is 10 here. 10, 11, and 2. So right around this area, right around the end of the day, is where we start to see a lot of that bullish pressure. Is where we start to see a lot of that bullish pressure die as Sunday and Monday come back in, and we have that push to the downside. But yeah, guys, that is how the news stacks up to the actual market here. So you can see the way the news impacted things in relation to where we are at in the market, given the support and the resistance structure that we have listed, okay? So there you can have a quick view. So we have some news that comes out in relation to the pairs around this time, and this is how it affected based on the structure. And then even if we go to the pound JPY, we can take a good look at the same thing. So when we had pound and JPY news came out, we can see we had effects there, so not much effects as the week opened. We had some things that led into consolidation, breaks out of consolidation, retests, major just push ups that really led momentum, retest. All these things went in line with the news that was released. So that's all I really want to say for this video, guys. Make sure if you did like this video, if it was helpful, because it sure was helpful to me. This is just the normal review that I would do for myself, just to, take to my journal to have for next time to see, okay, you know what? Let me see how I might be able to adapt, incorporate the news to be like, hey, you know what? I'm looking for high volatility moves, very influential moves. I can get in before the news, right? Because I want to play towards my market structure. That is my main lead nonetheless. So I use those things to my advantage and see how I can adapt and how I can do better. It's an evolving market. You got to be evolving with it. Stay sharp, stay direct, stay level-headed, and always be managing your risk. That's all I have to say for this video, guys. Thank you, fellow traders, for tuning into this video. I will go on a little hiatus, and I will catch you guys back on the next video. Peace. Stay good.